Her Bold Blueprint.
Her Bold Blueprint.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Her Bold Blueprint, where bold leadership is a choice. I'm Charissa Smith, one of your co-hosts, and I have the privilege of talking a little bit about one of our guests. We have two amazing guests today. Rosene Johnson, she founded My Grant BFF, where she has helped so many nonprofit organizations raising money up more than $15 million, just incredible and amazing. She's also helped ATHENA with our strategic planning, and she just had so much insight into just how to be a bold leader in that nonprofit space.
Well, thanks, Carissa. I mean, what a great conversation that we got to have with her. And, you know, the cool thing about this podcast is that we get to have conversations with women leaders who build, disrupt, and redefine success on their own terms. I mean, we have women from established executives to emerging voices, and we uncover the story behind the story. And yes, Rosene Johnson is amazing. We also had the amazing Erin Griffin on our show today, which was so cool. Erin's honestly one of my favorite people. She's an emerging leader at the nationally renowned accounting firm RSM US, and she's a rising star. She's been a treasurer on our board. She's going to be our new president next year in 2027. And boy, did they have some wonderful, bold, and untold stories to tell us. It was great.
It was amazing. I think the synergy we had with both of them, you know, with Erin coming in as the next president of ATHENA, and Rosene's work, I think they complemented each other tremendously.
I agree.
I hope you enjoy it. Welcome. I'm delighted today to have two amazing women, Rosene Johnson and Erin Griffin. Rosene, my best friend, Grant best friend, and Erin Griffin with RSM, who's always been a supporter of ATHENA. So thank you so much to you both for being here. Before we really get started with all of our questions, I'd like for the both of you maybe take a moment and just tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited. Rosene Johnson with Your Grant BFF. I have a consultancy firm supporting nonprofits and small businesses, everything with funding to strategic planning to board development. I've been in the nonprofit space for over 20 years. I know I started when I was 12, and it's okay.
You're just a baby.
Just a baby. But it's been my life's work. And so it's a great experience to now do it on the other side as an entrepreneur with my own business.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rosene. Erin?
So excited to be here with you guys. I'm a senior tax manager. I work at RSM. I've been in public accounting for 9 years now, going on 9, which is crazy. Sometimes feels like 20, sometimes feels like a day. I was in the ATHENA Next Gen class in 2022. One of my partners in the Orlando office, Lynn Sedgwick, has always supported ATHENA for many, many years. So it's great to now be on the board, be super involved, and just be a part of this amazing conversation.
Oh my gosh, we are so happy to have you both here. This is so cool. I feel like I'm in the room with my besties. How is that?
Like in just a living room.
Yes. I mean, so Rosene, you have helped nonprofits raise more than $15 million. Whoop, whoop.
Snaps.
$15 million. And you have also helped the ATHENA Next Gen board. You guided us in our strategic planning process last year, which was a huge effort. And I just am over the moon about the work that you did with us. Everyone on our board loved it. I'd love to go back a little bit and talk about what originally drew you into this work and what were some of the defining moments of your career path?
Yeah. Well, first of all, ATHENA was a huge defining moment in my career path. I remember taking the ATHENA Next Gen, being a part of that group in 2017. And it really, even though I had been to Orlando, I'm originally from the Midwest, and I had been in Orlando around that time about 6 years, I still hadn't really gotten my feet wet in the community. I knew a lot about Winter Park because that's where I was working at the time, but I didn't know anything about Orlando. And so going through ATHENA gave me an opportunity to network, to get to know people, but it also reignited this drive in me to create something of my own. Ever since I was a little girl, I knew I would be a businesswoman. Even though I started off going into teaching, and there have been several pivots in my career, but I always knew that I would have something of my own. And I remember being in the kitchen with my mom, and she was cooking greens and all of this. And she said, "You need to come in here. So you need to learn how to do this." And I said, "Why? I'm going to have someone else doing it for me."
I'm a chef.
Like, "What?" I was 4. Okay.
Oh my God.
4. I love that.
I knew that there's nothing wrong with cooking. I still can't cook, but there's nothing wrong with that. But I also knew that I wanted to build something. And I think that's where everything spurred for me. I started in nonprofits right out of college. I've always been intrigued with people's stories. And my first career pivot was actually as a journalist. So I started off in journalism. And I was always just intrigued about sharing a story, learning about people. And then when I realized through the work of nonprofits, you had the ability to actually help people with their stories, that's what made me really, really excited. And so that's how I ended up into this work. And then taking a step and saying, okay, here's the time. There was a transition in my career, and I said, you know what, here's the moment. This is the moment for me to step out and do something on my own. And it was bold.
Yes.
It
That is a bold
was
move.
scary, but it was also thrilling and satisfying because I knew it was time for me to do it. And so the exciting part for me in working with ATHENA and so many others is watching the organizations really be able to grow and to see the work that's been put in last for many, many years.
That's just amazing.
So empowering.
Yeah.
And also like for you at 4 years old or however young you are to know like I'm gonna start something and own something, like that's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
And I remember I read something on your website too that you were a CEO by 25. You were running your own businesses, and in my line of work as a banker, I get to meet all these people, and I mean it takes guts and it takes a lot to run your own business and start it from scratch. So it's really amazing.
Oh, thank you.
And
Thank
the work
you.
that you've done.
It's been fun. There are tough days, and there are days when you're like, oh man, I don't want to get up, but I have to because I'm the one. Someone's got to do it. And then there are days that frankly are just hard. The contract you wanted didn't come through, or you've got to sell differently, or you've got to learn something new. But I wouldn't trade it for the world because I've learned so much about myself. And I think that's why I really needed to do it, especially at this time in my life.
Amazing.
It's interesting when you say the contract that you wanted, but it didn't go through. And so in fundraising, and I think you can understand this better than most, there is this idea, right, that we can go have a conversation and we can talk about a sponsorship, and maybe a company says, no, I really can't do it. And some businesses or nonprofits might come back and say, well, I'm never going to go revisit that. And in my theory is, it's just today is no, but maybe a year from now is yes. What do you think about that?
I totally agree. And I've seen it happen with the organizations that I've worked with, that I've led, with organizations that I've helped. My thought is that if I get a no, I'm just speaking to the wrong person, or it's the wrong time.
Yeah, sure.
So that doesn't mean that you don't go back. And really, I think a lot of times organizations, especially when you're looking at funding, they want to see how consistent you will actually be and how persistent you'll be. So when I speak to clients, I share with them, you need to go back, you need to reapply, because that's actually sometimes their test for you to see, do you really want to be in partnership with us?
Ooh, that's
Or is
so
this
good.
just a transaction, or
Mhm.
are you really seeking a partnership? And so I 100% agree with you.
That's
Go back,
so good.
go back again. As long as there's alignment and you know there's real alignment, go back again and it'll work itself out.
That's so
awesome.
good. I love that. What a great nugget.
Yep,
Right?
absolutely. All right, Erin, you've built an incredible career at RSM that you've mentioned earlier, and even traveled internationally to teach, which is amazing. I'd love to hear
Yes.
more about that. What's been your journey to this point, and what are a few lessons that you've learned that's changed how you lead or how you show up to work?
Yeah, loaded question. So many lessons.
Yeah, there's so many. And you
every
just
day.
And she's been to India.
I know.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah,
you
I was
gotta
in
take-
India in November, which was amazing,
gosh.
incredible. Once upon a time, I thought I was going to be a teacher.
Mhm.
I do not have the patience of that. So thank goodness I did not go that route.
Wow.
But something I do internally is I help develop our learning internally. So that's why I was in India, is I was teaching teams there. We have several offices in India. So they flew everyone in my capability, people that I work with in India on the day-to-day basis. And I was there for a week teaching and learning.
Wow.
And
That's so cool.
it was
amazing.
incredible.
Had you been there before?
Never.
Never.
It was never on my list.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love Asia, been to Thailand,
Uh-huh.
been a few places, but never India, and would go back. So that's always good.
Yeah.
But no, public accounting is tough. You know, the hours are long and can be very gruesome. I think from a young age, I was instilled with, you know, work hard to achieve things in life. My mom was a single mom, so
Yeah.
I grew up watching her raise me and my sister pretty much on her own. So that's just kind of been engraved in who I am, I think, as a human.
Yeah.
So I worked pretty hard in my career, especially the first couple years. I was kind of like head down, like I can make what I want out of this career, essentially. And then over the years, I've also realized it's not just about working hard, but building those relationships. So I've spent the last 7 years of my career just networking internally, externally, getting to know clients, getting to know people. And that's really, I think, what's made me the most successful is I can call on clients, teams, internal people all the time, and I know they will answer my call. And that's just because I've taken the time to get to know them, get to know their families, ask them personal questions. So I think that's a big part of who I am, the brand I've built at RSM and externally.
And that takes a lot of vulnerability, I have
Yeah.
to say, you know. And, you know, for someone like myself who's worked in law firms most of my career,
Yeah, law is very similar.
it's still very much of a male-dominated industry, right? So I commend you on that. And I also know that RSM has tremendous women leaders.
Yes.
One of whom is Lynn Sedgwick, who is amazing. And one of the things that I keep thinking about is how often you and your colleagues are supported by so many people within the RSM community and how they really give back to community service and promote you to give back to community service. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, and that's one of RSM's pillars is, you know, community and giving back. And it's not just about working hard and getting revenue and billing clients. Like, you need to give back to your local communities. It's so important. So like Orlando, we pick a nonprofit every year. Our office, every office in the United States does. We take 1 or 2 volunteer days during the year, and we actually physically leave the office, take the day off, and go and volunteer there. Whether it's providing services, providing cash, it's super important to us. And I'm so fortunate that I work with so many amazing women. I actually work probably with more women than men, which is hard to say in my industry.
Yeah.
But all of them are so involved in the community, and they just think it's an important aspect, not just to like be represented for the firm, but for yourself.
For the women who do it all, and then do a little more. We're here for you. At Advent Health for Women, we created the region's only women's health navigation team to make healthcare simpler. Our registered nurses will match you with the right doctors, schedule your appointments, and more for you and your whole family. So you can keep making hard look easy.
quick question. When you decided that you weren't going to be a teacher, can you walk us through, I mean, that's sort of a pivot, right? So you
Huge.
were, right? Like what happened, or when did that take place? When did that process, how did you come to the realization?
I was forced into it, just to be totally honest.
Forced into being a teacher?
So I went to Florida State, go Noles, big Noles fan. And it was like one of the last weeks that I was able to choose my major my sophomore year.
Okay.
And I was like, I still don't know. Like at one point I thought I wanted to be a vet. Like I very much didn't know. My sister changed her major a million times in college and like ended up in medical.
Me too. That's so funny.
Yeah, my mom was a nurse for 40 years.
Yep.
So like both of my family members are in medical, but I like don't love science. I'm very type A. I've always been kind of business minded. So I just went general business.
Okay.
Kind of took an accounting class and didn't fail. And I was like,
I'm
maybe
pretty good
this
at
is
this.
it.
That's the
Yeah.
key.
My best friend's mom is also an accountant. So like I got to see the lifestyle that
Okay.
she lived where, you know, spring season, April, May, March is very busy for us, but we get to take nice vacations in the summer,
Right.
get to enjoy the holidays. So you work a lot, but there's also a lot of flexibility.
And go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to say, you know, I mean, we think the world of you. We are over the moon with you all the time. And as one of the 3 founders, we thought, who would be the most amazing next president of this organization? And it's you, Erin. And so happy for you. And I'd just love to hear a little bit about, you know, you've been so active on the ATHENA Next Gen board as an officer, as treasurer. In fact, I want to just give a big shout out to RSM because the last 4 treasurers that we've had on the board have all been from RSM.
Wow. Yeah.
How cool is that?
Amazing.
And you are going to take on a huge role in a very short few months. I
know.
mean, I know we're almost into April, but I mean, in January of 2027, you'll be our new president. And
That's
we are
exciting.
over the moon. I'd love to hear what some of your thoughts are about the future for women's leadership in ATHENA in Central Florida.
Yeah, I think ATHENA is in such an interesting place because we've grown. I've been on the board. This will be my 3rd year, and we have grown so much. Like when I talk to some of the past treasurers about what it was like with them, it's night and day. So it will be a challenge taking us into our next chapter, but I love a challenge. I probably have a hard time saying no to challenges.
I gotta take it on.
Yeah, but that's just like who I am as a person. So hopefully it will be successful. I know that I have the support of all the amazing founders and our incredible board.
And Rosene.
And Rosene,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
For you.
Yes, I know I won't be doing it alone.
Yes.
Which makes it a little less scary, but I'm also like, it
You're
is scary.
amazing. You're going to do fantastic because even in the time that I worked with ATHENA, I could always see your heart behind the work. And a lot of times people, when they see treasurers or those that are in accounting or, again, our numbers, right? Our numbers people, we think sometimes that numbers people aren't people, but you are not that person. And so you have the beautiful way of combining the two. So I just know you're going to do fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's very true. Because when we were going through that multi-year strategic planning, we were doing the Post-it notes.
Yes.
I remember that, and so and just for our listeners, so we had to do this exercise and sort of, you know, get to learn more about each other on the board and what we're good at compared, or what we like compared to like whether it's being outside talking to people or not talking to people. Those some very funny moments, but it was surprising. I think on your post that you love talking to people, and to me, I'm like, oh wow, I didn't know that. That's cool.
In accounting, it's like your audit or your tax. Like you're put into a little bubble, and I'm in tax. Most people think tax people are nerds, sit at their computer, don't talk to anyone all day. All I do is talk to people all day. Like I'm on calls all day, and like I go to FSU to do FSU recruiting. So that's like another way that I give back to the firm and the students there. So
That's great.
I spend 2 weeks a year up at Florida State and recruit current accounting students and talk all day. And they're always like, "Are you in audit? Because you love to talk." I'm like, tax people talk too, I promise.
Yeah.
So
Tax people talk too. I love that. Oh my gosh, that's a crowning jewel right there.
Yeah.
Tax people talk too.
I love that. Yeah, that should be a T-shirt.
yes.
So we talked a little bit earlier about pivoting in the classroom setting and being a student. And this is for both of you guys. So in your career, has there been something that maybe didn't work out the way you thought it would? And that experience, maybe it taught you something. And what, if you could maybe share that experience, and what did it end up teaching you, and how it maybe changed your leadership style?
Yeah. I think a big part of everyone's career, and honestly just life, is having those tough conversations, and also, listening to your intuition. So when I was a baby staff, brand new to the firm, I was working with a team that I knew it just was not a good fit for me personality-wise. Again, I think I'm a people person, so I want to be supported, but also provide that support. I wasn't feeling that support being given, so I just was not performing my best. Having the courage to speak up in that moment and go to my boss and not tattletale on the team I was working with, but say, like, this just isn't a good fit. And at the end of the day, like, I'm not going to be happy here if I stay on this team.
Wow.
Was probably a pivoting moment in my career. Like, I probably would not be at RSM if I hadn't had that conversation.
Wow.
And how much courage did that take?
A lot. And a lot of
Yeah.
coaching. So mentors are huge in everyone's career and just life in general.
So you actually set yourself up to like practice for that conversation.
Yes. Oh,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How did you do that? Because I know some of our listeners would love to hear about
Yeah.
that. Right.
I went to someone I really trusted, and I think that's key. Like,
Okay.
and in our firm, we kind of assign performance advisors.
Okay.
So I'm just given advisees. And sometimes you might not connect on a personal level with that person, and that's okay. They can still help guide you in your career.
Right.
But I think mentors are so important because that is someone that you can be vulnerable with and have those conversations with. So I had that person at the time, and I said, this is my situation. I need you to help coach me through this conversation we're going to have. I don't want to burn any bridges. That's huge.
Yeah.
And like, I also don't want to like upset this person that I'm, talking about. So that was a few weeks, months of conversations and documenting, if you will. But the person I ended up talking to like was super receptive and totally, they understood. Like, I think if you're open, sincere, and honest in those conversations, like, it should be received well. And if it's not received well, just know, like, that's not on you. That's on the other person.
And to our listeners, this is such a bold move.
Yeah.
And thank you for walking us through that. I think it's important.
Yeah, that's powerful.
I mean, I'm just thinking about being a baby banker myself, and I've definitely had those situations where I didn't really feel like I was being given the support. And I gotta say, I wasn't strong enough back then to
It's
really
scary.
Right.
Yeah, and then at the time I didn't have the mentor, which I ended up getting down the road. But yeah, I kind of have those emotions that are going through me right now, thinking about being that, early 20s.
Yeah.
And so kudos to you for doing that.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Kudos to you. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, it's the opposite. Again, I was in my 20s. The first time that I actually led an organization. So here I am, the CEO, and I absolutely have no idea of what I'm doing. Meaning
CEO at 25.
CEO at 25.
25 years old. Wow.
In a university setting, nonetheless. So higher education is its own beast,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
So I had to learn a lot in a short period of time. I knew my trade. This is when I was heavy into education, and I had made the pivot from journalism into youth and child development. So I knew all of that. I didn't know how to run anything though. So I was cracking up when you're talking about your accounting class, because that's the class that I dropped. I literally picked up Accounting for Dummies, the book, and I taught myself.
I love it.
I cannot credit
deal.
debit. I was like, I cannot sit through a whole semester of this. I could not do it. But so I was self-taught. but what was really interesting though was I was one of the youngest staff members there. And the rest of my staff, I had about 100 staff at the time. Most of them were women that they honestly could have been my mom. And they treated me like I was a daughter. And I think the initial response is to be, well, I can do this, and I'm the one in charge, and you see the name on the wall. But I actually took a very humble posture, because I realized, wait a minute, I really don't know what I'm doing. And these women can see something in me that I can't. So I actually humbled myself and I learned from them.
Yeah.
I would sit in their classrooms.
That's a great nugget. I love it.
I would go spend time with them, and I would learn from their wisdom, their maturity, and their experience. And they would tell me different things. Well, this parent likes it this way, and this person likes it this way. And when you talk with this teacher, and I realized they weren't out to get me.
Right.
And I think a lot of times, sometimes as women, we can think that other women are out to get us. They weren't out to get me. They were actually there to help me. And to this day, we still have the warmest, loving relationships. I could pick up the phone today and call them. They came to my wedding. I mean, these are just women that are in the pocket for me. But I think that was a lesson that I had to learn, is that sometimes you actually need to humble yourself. Just because you have the title,
right,
that doesn't mean anything. The people around you may actually know a lot more, and you need them to do your job. So humble yourself a little bit and allow yourself to learn from your team around you. And because of that, we were able to go on and do great things in that organization. To this day, there are still things that we did that, talking 15, 16 years later, that they're still doing today.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's such
That
great
says a lot
guidance.
about
I love
your work there.
Thank you.
And this is interesting because you both shared stories of how you had the help, when you were younger. And as I shared, I did not. So and we were talking about this before the episode, like how can we bridge the gap for younger women that are coming up, new generations, and bridging the gap for those that we've been around for a long time? And I don't really know. I mean, there are certain things that you guys have implemented, like at RSM. I love that you have advisees. I mean, that's amazing. And how you were learning from the folks that were around you. But in organizations, what do you think? How can we bridge that gap so that we're all speaking the same language and helping each other and ensuring that those younger women aren't feeling intimidated either, and that they're able to speak to us?
I think it's a different time. I think, so I was talking to my mom. She's 85 going on 86. And we were talking about what it was like when she grew up. A woman was in a woman's place and, this is what you do and this is what you said. And even then she was, and we were talking too about your mom, she was still a trailblazer, because that was when women were just starting to honestly work outside of the home and it actually be okay. And, so she started her own business and things like that. And then my generation comes along, Gen Xers, we're all rebels anyway. So we're like, well, you can't tell us and we're going to do our own thing. But when I look at this generation right now, I think because of the generations that have been before them, they have so much more at their disposal. And when I see my nieces, or, when I see my cousins, or when I see younger women that are entering the workforce, I don't think they feel the same level of intimidation that we did.
Thank goodness.
Because the world has changed.
That's true. That's
because of the work that has happened, right? So I think they are bolder than we ever were.
Yes. I love
and
that.
I think it's because it's not entitlement. They have an expectation that they are supposed to be where they are. And I think, frankly, we're going to learn more from them at times than we may be able to honestly teach them.
No, I
totally
think that
agree
is
with that.
such a beautiful sentiment.
too.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Rosene, because there are so many things that the younger generations, whether they're Gen Z, Gen X, whatever, I think sometimes, unfortunately, they get a bad rap. And I don't like that, because there's so much that we can learn from them. I mean, I'll say on this podcast, I'm 58. I'm going to be 59 in 2 weeks. And,
Happy early birthday.
thank
Yeah.
you. I think about the younger generations and how incredibly smart they are when it comes to valuing their time, their disposable time, right? Disposable time that that back in the day, my mother always said, no, get there early, stay late, blah, blah, blah. And I always thought that that was what was going to define me. But the reality is they're very, very smart about budgeting their time. Just like budgeting our finances, they budget their time. And I think there's so much value in that. And then the other thing is, I think what I love about the younger generations too is that they really understand like what their purpose is. And I didn't have a chance to figure that out. I just went to college and my mom said, go get a job. You got to start making money. Go. And so, you know, there wasn't a whole lot of what I call strategic planning.
Yeah, exactly.
Great to your point, there wasn't a lot of strategic planning, and I wish there had been, because quite honestly, I think that probably could have served me well as a younger person. And I just think they're so much more smarter about this, right?
What is that saying? Work to live, don't live to work.
Right.
And I might be saying it the opposite way, but I feel like
gotcha.
I feel like they do that perfectly. Like the new staff and the people in 25 and younger that are just starting, they are so good at setting boundaries.
Yes.
And
there you go.
And in a world that I live in, where I'm deadline driven and everything revolves around a due date, I'm sometimes like, this is crazy. Like the client needs this today, but like, no. I am not doing brain surgery.
Yep.
This can go sometime later this week. Like they're really good at being like, I cannot get to that today, but I will get to it. They're still hard workers, but they're not going to kill themselves or work crazy hours to get something done like I would have when I was a staff or someone would have 30 years ago.
I love that perspective because I'm really thinking through I think we will, like you said, Rosene, learn from them.
Yeah.
Oh,
and,
yes.
And I wasn't equipped. And similar to you, Karen, I was like, go to college. I mean, we didn't come from an affluent family. So go to college, get your job, you know? And then I didn't have that, you know, cultivating that strategic plan to say, what am I really good at? And so I ended up doing business as well. And then the working, you know, get there early. I used to get to work sometimes at 7:30 and leave at 6. And I was exhausted and on the brink of burnout. And you're right. This generation isn't doing that. And sometimes, like you were saying, Karen, that they might get a bad rap. Oh, they're lazy or they're not putting in their effort. They're doing what they should be doing and respecting themselves.
Yeah.
And I think they have more self-worth and awareness about what they need to be successful in both are's in the balance.
So I think your original question was like, how do we bridge the gap?
Yeah.
For me, it's asking them like, how help me help you, but also like let me understand you a little more. And like I'm a millennial, so it's not like I'm crazy different in age between the people that are starting, but I do have a different mentality now that I am in leadership and you know I am managing a lot of people. But it's important to understand like what was important to me as a staff at that point in time in my life and career is not what's important to them right now.
Right.
So Rosene, you know, as we're talking about different generations, one of the things I think we'd love to get your perspective on, because we know you're only 29, which we love.
Exactly.
Is, what's a belief about your leadership, maybe that you held earlier in your career, and it doesn't necessarily have to be something that serves you today or something you want to unlearn, or maybe you've rethought over time. What does that look like for you?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think for me, the biggest piece of leadership that I would say that has changed a bit for me is this idea that you have to be nice. I am
That's interesting.
And not saying that we don't want to be kind, but allow me to explain. So I am by nature pretty much an easygoing, I'm the diplomat. I'm going to find a way. I mean, they should call me when it's time to go to war, because I'm going to find a way to make it all work. I think, honestly, it's
President Trump.
Exactly. I really do think they should call me. I think it's the preschool teacher in me. So and I'll go back to, this is when I did a lot of education. I taught preschool, kindergarten, younger grades, and even middle and high school. But really, those younger grades, everyone has an ego, and it's my toy and it's my this. So most days you spend your whole day negotiating who gets to play with what and when. So you learn very quickly how to navigate different personalities, what works with whom. And so I also, from that teacher perspective, you learn how to go with the flow, because yes, you're the teacher, but you need to be able to adapt to all these little personalities in your classroom. So when I became a leader and when I ended up leading and managing people, I found myself doing the same thing, which is great, right? You do want to be able to understand your team and your personalities. But then it became a point of, well, I was trying so hard to be nice that I wasn't paying attention to what I needed as the leader. And what ended up happening over those times is that I would give so much more of myself than at times I felt that I was receiving from my team. And I really had to place this in a whole new perspective now as a business owner, where you don't necessarily always have a full team to fall back on. So now I am the person. And so I have to negotiate, I have to speak, I have to do all of those things. And I have to also be able to say, wait a minute, I need to be able to make sure that whatever deal that I'm making, I can live with, because this is my living. And that meant that it's not about you being kind, not being kind. It's about, we can't always be nice. And I think as women, especially in my generation, we were taught, when you're nice, they'll give you what you want. Just be nice.
What's that saying? You attract more bees with honey.
Yes, than with vinegar.
Yes.
Yep. So just be nice and it'll all work out. And I realized, no, it doesn't.
Yes, exactly.
It doesn't. It doesn't all work out. And
the beehive falls and you get stung.
Exactly. And you're in the vinegar because you weren't what's on this wall behind me, right? I wasn't bold enough.
Yeah.
And so I think now I'm learning that it's okay for me to set those boundaries.
Yes.
It's okay for me to speak up, and I need to speak up so that I can make sure that I get what I need while we're negotiating everything else. And so I think that was the biggest learning experience for me was you can be kind, but you don't always have to be nice, because business is not nice.
I really do.
I love
that too.
that. I absolutely love that. So bold strategies.
Yes. We like to talk about those bold moves. I know we've talked about several. So I feel like
really
these are
have.
bold moves.
Yeah.
These women make bold moves all the
Really
time.
have.
So, but if you could maybe just share with us, that the bold move that really sticks out in your mind that you've done throughout your life, whether that's career or personally, have you shown up and have been that bold woman?
You can go first.
Ooh.
Bold and untold.
Yeah.
Bold and untold. I think there are two. The first is when I made the pivot from journalism into education and administration. I was in college on this track. I was ready to be the next Oprah. I had it all planned out. I was going to New York. I mean, I literally had this thing all planned
I want to
out.
watch your show.
Really? Oh, thanks. I'm so excited. Yeah, no, I honestly
You still
had
got
this
it
thing-
in you, girl.
I had it all planned out. And I remember I was talking to a friend of mine. We were at work at the bookstore, and we were just chatting. And she said, well, what do you really, it was that purpose question. What do you really want to do? And I said, I'd really like to create a shelter or a center for youth. I had never thought about that before in my life. Come to find out years later, I would end up doing that, right? Working in a program for youth, several different programs for youth. Long story short, I left work, went straight to my advisor and said, I'm changing my major. I was a junior, by the way. And he said, well, you can't do that because you're going to have to stay another year. And I remember his name was Bob. I hope Bob is still alive because he was such a nice guy, but I worked Bob. I said, well, Bob, your job as the advisor is to figure this out because I'm not staying another year and this is what I'm doing. And he figured it out. So I had like 3 different majors on my degree, but it all worked out. So that was huge for me because I knew in that moment that I was this wasn't my path. And I'm glad that I did that because everything in my life has shifted. And I think the second biggest bold move was starting my business.
I love that.
I started it on the floor of my bedroom. I remember I said, today's the day we're going to do it. I pulled out my phone, opened an Instagram account and said, hey, world, here I am. And for the first year and a half, all of my business, every last client came from Instagram or TikTok. Wow. And everything was just digital. And it was such a move for me to say, you know, I'm done trying to figure out a new career move or that type of thing. We're going to do it. We're going to step out in faith and do it. And I'm grateful I did.
Did your entrepreneurship come after COVID, out of curiosity? Was that part of it?
Yes, but I think it was always in me.
Okay.
And now that I've been spending more time with my mom, I think it's because of what I saw in her. My mom was an entrepreneur, very, very young. And as a kid, you don't realize it.
Right.
But she had her own beauty salon in our house. My dad totally redid our basement and turned it into her salon.
Wow.
Cool.
And so now I understand I was free labor. That's why I was bringing all those towels back and forth. Now I get it. And then she started her own group childcare. So my mom, it really started from seeing from that phase. And I think COVID was also a marker of we're putting too much security in someone else's hands.
Sure. Yeah.
And at some point you've got to place security in yourself and you've got to roll the dice on you.
No, I think that's great because, I mean, look at our economy today. It's so up in the air. And I think a lot of men and women, not just women, but I think so many people are thinking, what is that next step to create more security down the road? Because there are lots of unknowns. We have a lot of unknowns right now. But at any rate, I love that story. So thank you for sharing that.
Thanks.
And what about you, Erin?
I think the story I shared earlier professionally was probably my boldest for sure. And at such a young age. I mean, I mentioned before, my mom and sister are both in the medical field. So they probably still to this day have no idea what I do for a living. My mom's always just like, you're still busy, right? And she's retired and like living her best life. So good for her. But I'm like, I can't hang out on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Like, I have to work.
I'm a little busy.
Yeah. So for me, it was like navigating that without the help of my family. It was scary. I don't come from a family business background. So again, it's like finding who can I trust, who can I open up to and be vulnerable about. And that has pivoted my entire career. I mean, that one moment. And like, I remember the moment. I'll never forget it. And now I work with amazing teams. And I'm just so blessed for the people that I work with and that I get to interact with on a day to day.
That's awesome.
And what was it like for you to go to India to teach? I mean,
scary, but I'm scary at first.
That's also pretty bold.
So
that is very bold.
Yes. It's scary at first because like it's a totally different country. I mean, the most amazing culture, the most amazing people, like they are so welcoming and so forthcoming. But, you know, everyone warns you about the food and just the amount of people and you don't want to get sick. And I was only there for 8 days. I was not there for very long. So for me, it was like in and out for, you know, a 20-hour plane ride. But it was amazing. And I developed the training there. So I was in charge of what these people were learning. So I take that like with a lot of weight, you know, like they are the future of the firm. They're the teams that I work with. So I want them to have as amazing a career as I've had. Yeah. And it starts in the classroom. And, you know, we have continuing education as attorneys do, accountants, like it's very common. We go to Chicago in the US every year. So India was amazing, like very, very cool experience. Just to be there and meet them and see their culture was once in a lifetime.
How lucky were they to learn from you?
Yeah. I think in both of those stories, what I think is amazing is that bold moves can happen in a moment. And if, Rosene, you said to that guidance counselor or an advisor, that's high school, not guidance counselor. But if you had said to that advisor, oh, well, it's going to take a year. No, I'm not going to move forward because it's not going to happen. It's not going to work.
I love that you just told Bob, well, you got to
Yeah,
figure it
Bob.
out.
Oh, good
That's
old
your
Bob.
job, Bob. So,
Thank
you, Bob.
And then Erin, with you, the same thing, taking that step to have that difficult conversation at a very young age. I mean, if you hadn't done that, the trajectory of your career could have been completely different.
Yeah.
So I just love that, it doesn't have to, it can happen in a moment. And
it's so cool to see that, to hear from your story, Erin, that nothing is lost, right?
Right.
Remember you said you were thinking about going into education, you went into accounting, but now you're being sent to India to teach, which is education.
It's like full circle.
It is such a full circle.
Yeah.
Nothing is ever lost.
Yeah.
So you want to wrap it up with a
Yeah,
couple of rapid fire questions? Got a couple of rapid fire questions.
So what's a daily habit? You guys are both so busy. A daily habit that keeps you grounded.
Coffee in bed always.
Yes.
I spend like minimum 30 minutes in bed every day. But I have to see sunshine or work out. So for me, it's like I try and have at least 30 minutes to an hour of just me time, whether that's going for a walk or going to a workout, Pilates, weightlifting, whatever it may be. I think it's so important for every person's going to have their own thing. Reading, drawing, whatever is going to give you that release. For me, it really is just being able to move my body. So I really try and be intentional about if my schedule is back-to-back crazy until 6 p.m., I'm probably going to have to work out before work because I'm a couch potato at night, So I'm intentional about that. I know it fuels me. I know it puts me in a good mood. So that's my non-negotiable.
That's awesome.
Mine is car karaoke with my chai tea latte.
Car karaoke.
Have to do it.
What's your favorite song?
Oh my
What's
God.
your favorite song
I
to
have
sing?
so many. Well, I'm the ultimate Michael Jackson fan.
Oh, yes.
Love it.
So I cannot wait for the movie. So we'll throw on some Michael. We'll throw on some Mariah Carey. I'm also a 90s girly.
Oh,
so
yes.
anything 90s, I'm with you.
Yep.
But yeah, that's my day with my chai tea latte.
Do you ever go
Have
to
you
Big
been
Daddy's?
to Mandalay Bay yet? Have you gone to
I need to go
Mandalay
to all
Bay?
those
Oh, you need to go to Big
Because Mandalay
Daddy's.
Bay has the Thriller whole show out there.
Stop.
No, they do. It's a whole thing with Cirque du Soleil. They have the Thriller show. It's actually at Mandalay Bay.
Really?
It's incredible. It is incredible.
You
I
should
saw
look
it in
into
Vegas.
that.
And then Big Daddy's.
Big Daddy's karaoke. Shout out. This is not sponsored.
Yeah, we're giving you all the tea now. Everybody who's listening, we're giving you all the tea.
I'm so embarrassed to do it live, but yes, I will definitely look into that. We already have, and for the new Michael Jackson movie coming out, we've already rented the theater and everything.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's
Wow.
amazing.
All of my closest friends were all there. If you guys want to come, let me know. We have spots. But I was like, I have to be in a space with people that know me and get me to watch this movie.
I love
that.
I love that.
That's amazing.
I love this.
Yes.
This is amazing.
Might have to do a Her Bold Blueprint karaoke session.
All right.
Karaoke party. Well, I think this has been amazing.
Oh, it
It's
has
It's been so
been.
fun.
What
I
fun.
feel like it's passed
been
by
so
so
much fun.
fast.
I know.
Thank you.
Yes. And thank you both so much. And we want to thank our amazing presenting sponsor, Advent Health for Women. We could not do this without Advent Health for Women. So thank you, ladies. Thank you, Rosene. Thank you, Erin. We love you. Advent Health, we love you.
Yes.
And everyone, we hope you have a wonderful week for the episode that's about to come up. You're going to love it.
And remember, try to be bold.
Yes.
Thank you again for watching or listening. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Our podcast is available on all the platforms, including YouTube. And if you'd like to check our website out, you can find us at www.herboldblueprintpodcast.com. See you next time.